Welcome to another video. I got inspired over the weekend when I was discussing with a friend details about love languages and how her version of physical touch is different to her partner's, and that got me thinking we need to dive deeper into this subject. So we've got physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, and acts of service. Fonzie, please. If you do not know your love language, I've linked it below in the description box by Dr. Gary Chapman, and it's a great quiz, doesn't take long, and it gives you the percentages and which ones are your top two. Everyone has a top 2 out of the 5. So you can go ahead and do that and come back to this video when you're done, or you can keep on watching. If we know our partner's love language, that is not enough. What we need to know and figure out is the details behind it. So let's say your partner's love language is quality time and words of affirmation, okay? What is his or her definition of quality time? Is that 4 hours? Is that 1 hour? Is that they need a whole day of quality time per week and that is how they want to have quality time with you because your schedules don't permit otherwise? Is it without phones present? Are phones allowed to be there? Is the TV on in the background? Is it just you guys talking and catching up and it's eye contact all the time? Like, what are the details around your partner's definition of their top 2 love languages? Because then we also have our definition of what we think it could be. In my opinion, there would not be any phones. It could be a few hours of quality time and we could be watching TV, but together, and we could also be discussing and having great eye contact. So that would be okay for me, but what is it for your partner? So figuring out, it takes maybe a little bit of time to either figure it out for yourselves or you can go ahead and ask the question. Some people, if they're not super into talking about things that they need, some people aren't used to that. They're not used to being quote unquote emotional, or especially for men, they've been conditioned their whole life to not express themselves. That sometimes when us women are like, can you tell me about this? Can you tell me about that? Can you tell me how you feel about this? Sometimes they're not as responsive as women, and that's okay. So you need to maybe work it out a different way and find out maybe over a couple of weeks, trying different things and see the response. So what I'm trying to say is we need to get detailed so that we are loving our partner the best we can and as much as we can. Again, a lot of us make the mistake of loving our partner in the way that we want to be loved. So number 1 is finding out what your partner's love languages are, what their top 2 are, and then phase 2 is finding out what that actually means. What does it mean for words of affirmation? Is that only written down? Maybe they like to receive things written so that they can keep them, the text, or they can keep the post-it, and that's how they like to receive it best? Or is it verbally when you come home from work saying, you look so beautiful today? So which one is it? What lands better? And then that way you can go ahead and continue loving the person in the best way and the best way for them. A fun little idea I think is really cute for couples is once you both know your top 2, I like to suggest to people that they write it down on a post-it and then they switch, and then that partner can put that post-it of their partner's love language somewhere that they see it often, and then it's top of mind. So if the boyfriend puts it in his closet, he sees words of affirmation and quality time are top for her, he may be more apt to coming out of his closet and saying something really sweet to his girlfriend because he sees it more often. We're human. There are things that slip our mind. There are things we forget, sometimes out of sight, out of mind. So put it in sight so that your partner can do their best to love you the best way that you want to be loved. It's a great little trick to keep the love going the right way for the couple. If you know your partner doesn't really communicate very well around things they are feeling and needing, I highly recommend trying different techniques or ways of loving your partner so that you can see, okay, that definitely didn't work. Definitely no phones when we're hanging out for quality time. And you could also read your partner as well. If your partner is not on their phone while you're hanging out, you may realize that that is important to your partner, that the phones are down and you're connecting. Sometimes if the partners are super, super different and one needs a lot of time and the other doesn't need a lot of time, sometimes you have to meet in the middle, right? Finding out what is the middle ground for somebody who doesn't need a lot of time with the other person, who is more of a loner, who likes a lot of alone time. It's not just I'm super disappointed because you didn't spend 17 hours with me yesterday, and maybe it's going to be half the day, maybe it's going to be a few hours versus nothing at all for that person. So finding out ways to communicate about what the actual needs are behind each top 2 love languages is really, really important to do. And the reason why this is so important is because down the line, when people go to couples therapy or get divorced, a lot of the issues are, I didn't feel seen anymore. We drifted apart. I didn't feel connected to my partner anymore. And most of the time it's because they weren't aware of their partner's love language this whole time. Or 2, they stopped putting in effort towards that love language. So relationships are work, man. They are work. You need to put effort. Having a post-it in your closet of your partner's love language is a great, smart, easy, almost no effort idea to be able to put in a lot of effort in the relationship and do your part. If you think relationships aren't supposed to be that hard, well, you are wrong. Relationships are effort. You need to find somebody that is willing to make the same amount of effort as you so that you can not feel like you're pulling the weight of the relationship. It's nice to not be the only one planning date night. It's nice to have that balance between the 2 partners, or else there's resentment that builds up. So if you're the only one that's focusing on your partner's love language and you're trying to please them in all these ways and you're pulling your weight, you need to make sure that the other person is too. So if that is you in this situation right now, you may need to have a conversation with your partner around love languages, around the weight, the effort that you feel you're putting in, and go from there. So that is a little bit more into love languages, diving a little bit deeper, understanding that we may think we know our partner's love languages, which is step 1. So good on you for knowing your partner's love language, but do you know what it means for them? We all have different definitions of each love language: quality time, acts of service, gifts, physical touch, words of affirmation. We all have different versions of that. We need to know what it means for our partner. We need to know the details of the love languages of our partner in order to have the best relationship. So hope this was helpful. Hope you take this into your relationship and have a happier, healthier one. If you haven't already joined the Grow With Me family, then please hit that subscribe button and hit the like so that I know you enjoyed this video, and hit the bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video.